Hey guys, Ben here, and welcome back to another video. Well, actually, a live stream. Today we're here with the DCTV show episode 56. Eric is going to be joining me in just a moment. We're just going to begin and introduce everything that we're going to be doing on this live stream, and then Eric will be shortly along. And so, yeah, I'm very much so looking forward to talking to you guys this week. Why? Because the Flash is on. We got so much to discuss. Armageddon literally just began, and so obviously it's like a huge deal, and we've got to discuss this. But welcome to everyone who is joining the live stream right now. Gary is here, Nathan's here, and I'm sure lots of other people are going to be joining as we start. So welcome to everyone who is joining. Unspeakable BG has just commented in the chat. He is here. And just as a reminder, as it goes every week, if you want your questions answered by me and Eric when Eric joins, the best way to get them answered is via super chats. Now, how do you do super chats? So I will quickly explain. Just like Gary has done here, we're going to answer Gary's in just a moment. You can go over underneath the chat button. You can click on the $sign, click super chat, and type in whatever question or topic you want to talk about. It doesn't have to be related to what me and Eric are going to be talking about. Obviously, we're mainly going to be talking about the series, the season 8 premiere, aka Armageddon Part 1, in this video because that just premiered the other night, and I'm sure we've all got lots of thoughts about it. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that, and if you have any questions, which I'm sure a lot of you guys do have questions about, if you come up with anything, please be sure to send it in. But yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and start with the first two super chats, and then we'll start digging into the crossover, which has literally just begun, and obviously all very hyped up about it. And okay, so sorry, I'm already going off track. Let's get back on track. Gary Gammon sends in the first super chat of the live stream. Thanks so much, Gary. Gary says, is the Flash getting delayed later than March? Now, what Gary is talking about is the Flash is basically airing 5 episodes, the 5 parts of the Armageddon crossover event, starting this week. Obviously, we just had part 1. We're going to have part 2 next week, and then it will continue for up to 5 weeks, right? And we'll have those 5 episodes. And then we have a big break, like a several months break. It's not even like just 1 month or something. But it's been announced that I believe the Flash isn't coming back until March or something. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a long time. So that is what Gary is talking about here when he says, is it getting delayed later than March? The answer to that, Gary, is no. It's definitely not going to get delayed later than March unless some crazy thing happened, like behind the scenes, and they couldn't film or something. But the reason why I say definitely not is because, I mean, it's already really late. Like, if they run later than that, they're going to run into like big scheduling problems down the line because they have lots of shows that are starting up again, and they're going to be taking the Flash's time slot and stuff. Like, even the Flash is moving to a Wednesday because Naomi and Superman and Lois are going to be on. So it's going to be pretty packed. But thanks so much for the super chat, Gary. Cal sends in a super chat. Thanks so much, Cal. Cal is also a member of the channel, so thank you for supporting. Cal says, hi, Ben. I can't say because I'm at school. Well, thanks for coming along, Cal, and thanks for... Oh, we got the police. The police with the blue background lighting for us. Oh, my God. Anyway, thanks for showing up, Cal, and I appreciate you being a member and supporting the channel with your super chat. And yeah, once again, no problem that you're at school. Again, I had to do this stream tiny bit earlier than usual, so I think from, ideally I would start the stream like maybe an hour later or something. But it kind of changes. It goes up and down because it's just all depending on like what time is best, basically. But thanks so much, and enjoy the rest of your day at school, Cal. Gary sends in a super chat. He says, is Reverse Flash being in a lot of season 8? I thought he left the show. So this is a good question, Gary, because I believe there was some comments by the showrunner Eric Wallace just the other day in like some outlet he was talking to about the premiere, and I think he mentioned that Reverse Flash, Tom Cavanagh is going to be basically showing up more and more. Um, And that is obviously contrasting to the official announcement that he was leaving the show, right? Because he literally left the show, but then again, when I think back to it, I think they specifically note that he is left as a series regular, and I think they're going to bring him back, every once in a while as Reverse Flash and as whatever character, they want to use him as. Um, so yeah, I'm pretty sure Tom is going to be around quite a bit, only because he basically gets more flexibility, and he'll just have to like fly in or just get in, and that's when he'll be on the set, I guess. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, and thanks so much to Cal and Gary for the super chats to start the stream, and for all you other people, please still send in super chats even whilst I'm going over the topics I have and before Eric shows up to the stream. And they're all going to be answered. Okay, let me pop my notes up. So yeah, The Flash, it's begun. Armageddon season 8. It's two big things, the start of a new season, but also the start of a crossover event. I don't think we've ever had such a big kind of anticipated episode 1. Like, I don't think it's the best episode 1 we've had ever, but it's pretty hype, right? Because you got Armageddon, and it's like going straight into the story. It's not, just setting anything up. It's properly like, yes, we are here, crossover time, let's go. And literally at the start of the episode, we have Despero, who arrives in his human form, but he later shows up in his full-on alien form. What do you guys think of that? Let me know in the chat right now. What did you think of Despero? Did you like him in this episode? And what did you think of his CGI and his alien form? Because I thought his alien form was really good. I thought it looked very good, although it's not like human-like. I felt like it was good for a fully CGI character. It felt kind of like a person a little bit, and definitely like good to the effects work around the face and the way that it kind of moved. And I would say it's like one of the best fully CGI characters that the Flash has done. Like, I think the detail in Grodd is really good in terms of like his, hair and stuff and the way that he sort of is, but his movements aren't always the best. I felt like this was more realistic, and I definitely think this is like better than a lot of the times that King Shark has showed up. Um, Although sometimes King Shark is very good, it can be hit and miss depending on like how much money they can kind of cram into an episode, like solely on the CGI, because obviously the CGI is expensive. Unspeakable BG thinks he acted like an evil Rip Hunter. Tell me I'm wrong. Yeah, I guess, because he is a time traveler, and that's something I wrote down in my notes. That is very important. He's from the future. He's not just an alien. He is from the future, and it's definitely something that would have gone down in the history books if he is an important villain from the future. So I presume when Bart and Nora eventually come back, maybe they'll be like, oh yeah, Despero, that villain that you face 10 years down the line in the future. Oh yeah. But they didn't address the idea of Bart and Nora, like, because they're from 2049 and this is 10 years in the future. So obviously this is like a new timeline that has been created supposedly. Again, we don't know if we can trust Despero, but if it's true and Earth is destroyed in 10 years, that means that Bart and Nora would never be born. So they need to 100% defeat whatever this is and make sure Barry doesn't cause Armageddon in order for those characters to come back, because otherwise it would spell doom for them, because like they would not be alive pretty much. Okay, let's move on. Gary has another super chat. Gary says, do you think The Flash will get to season 9? I really liked the season premiere of season 8. What do you think? Yeah, overall, I thought the season premiere was pretty damn good. I was very entertained, and I was thinking about it afterwards. And there's some nitpicks here and there, but apart from the couple of nitpicks, Eric's having some trouble trying to join. I'm gonna resend him the link. Yeah, apart from the couple of nitpicks, I thought it was like a really solid premiere and, set up for what's to come. Definitely teased the perfect amount, I think. But yeah, so I really enjoyed it. But in regards to, do you think The Flash will get season 9? Yeah, I think 100% we're going to be getting a season 9, especially because of something that happened in the episode. So we also get the return of Ray Palmer. And again, when Eric joins, we'll get his thoughts and opinions on all of this. But yeah, Ray returns, and the way he ends the episode is that, yeah, I only just started the stream, guys, so don't worry, you haven't missed much. But the way that Ray ends the episode is that he literally says, I'll be back next year. And so I kind of take that as like a backhanded, yes, the Flash is going to be on next year because Ray's going to return. And, what other show would he return on? Obviously Legends, but they set this up, on the Flash. So obviously he's going to return to the Flash. So I feel like season 9 is pretty much a given. And, I definitely Grant and everyone else who's working the show wants to do it. So it's just a matter of getting official confirmation. But welcome Walker Dead and Maya. I don't think you missed that much. We just discussed Gary's super chats, and also Cal sent in a super chat, and we just began discussing the Flash's Armageddon event. Yeah. Okay. So, as a reminder to you guys, if you are just joining the stream, please be sure to send any questions or ideas you have in the chat. But if you want me to talk about them straight away, 100%, please be sure to send them in via Super Chat. As I've mentioned, and as I mention every stream, that is the best way to get your questions answered. Okay, let's move on. We're gonna continue talking about the Flash and Armageddon Part 1. We still have a lot to talk about. I have a lot of notes, and obviously I think Despero definitely is promising. I think, as I mentioned, the CGI form is it looks really good, but sorry, I was just changing this. Anyway, I lost track of my thoughts. I don't know where the hell I went. Sorry, guys. That is just a bad trope of mine, forgetting and trying to read notes and stuff. Let's start from scratch. Okay. Ray Palmer shows up, as I mentioned. Shows up. It's great. He's the first crossover character to show up. He's going to be continuing... there's going to be a continuing trend that new characters are going to show up episode after episode. Next episode, in part 2, Armageddon is going to be seeing the reintroduction of Black Lightning into the Arrowverse. Obviously, Black Lightning just ended, so it's not a thing that's going on anymore, but it's great to see Jefferson back. And so Barry's going to be going to him for advice after hearing what Despero said about Barry's future. So yeah, that's going to begin next episode, and Ray, I don't believe, is going to return at any point in this crossover, although we will get another version of the Atom in the form of dun dun dun, a different character, not Ray, Ryan Troy, who first appeared and only appeared in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing him around, and finally seeing him, in in the Atom costume. Like, I don't think the thing is, if Ray doesn't show up again, is there actually going to be a passing of the mantle, or is this version of the Atom just going to be like another version? It's not going to be this kind of passing of the mantle type thing. We'll have to wait and see when he actually shows up. I don't know what specific episode he's showing up, but should be in the next few. Obviously, I think 4 and 5 are going to be the big kind of finale fighting episodes, and these are the setting up episodes. Like, you can tell in this episode there wasn't like any big fight scenes or anything. Like, there was that one scene with the Atom and the Flash taking on Despero, but it wasn't that big. Like, it was pretty contained compared to what it could have been, like, say, with a bunch of heroes versus Despero or versus Reverse Flash. And yes, you guys have to remember Reverse Flash and Damien Dark are showing up in this crossover, and they could be the ones who cause Barry to lose his mind. Maybe they are the real cause of all of this. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so I really enjoyed Ray in this episode. What did you guys think of Ray? I thought he was a nice addition, and the way that he shows up was great. Just randomly shows up in town for this big convention that Chester is all hyped about. Also, they had quite a nice relationship in this episode. Obviously, Chester looks up to Ray as a kind of scientist, as an inventor. He wants to be like him, and at the end of the episode, he sets up a fund in his father's name, which I thought was a really nice touch. And obviously, there's going to be more of those two characters in the future. But yeah, he remembers an old offer that Barry and Iris gave him, and he literally just shows up and he's like, "Yeah, I'm here. I'm in town, so I thought I'd take you up on the offer." And he literally just shows up out of nowhere, and it was so funny. I'm sure you guys liked that. It was very like endearing and great. Robert says, "Choke me up a little" in that scene. Yeah. The combination of Barry and Iris and Ray was just great. Was just the best scene. Yeah, I agree. Maya says, "I hope Ray teaches or mentors Ryan Choi as the Atom." Yeah, I I definitely think that would be the best option. However, because Ray has left already by the end of this episode and Ryan hasn't shown up, it's a bit weird if this were to happen in this crossover, because that would happen off screen. So I'm wondering, do they bring back Ryan Choi or keep him around more often? And then next year, when Ray returns to the Flash, is that going to be the mentor stage? I don't know. Eric's having some computer problem. That's why he hasn't shown up yet, by the way. So it's just, he was just letting me know. Okay, so what else do we have to talk about? There is mention of Bart and Nora showing up. Apparently, since they left, they've shown up like a bunch of times. And, unless I'm still not 100% sure, because I feel like it was at the start of the episode and it was a very brief comment about Bart and Nora. But I'm pretty sure I heard that they've been showing up, and it pretty much confirms you're going to see them again soon, because you never got a proper goodbye. And I think that's on purpose, because we are going to see them come back and, show up on the show. So after Armageddon ends, you're going to have an episode with Bart and Nora, and I'm not sure if they're going to be in much more than one episode, like, after it. Like, I feel like they could come back nearer to the end of the season like they did this season, but I don't think they're going to be around like every episode as series regulars. I believe Jordan Fisher is pretty busy, like, in terms of his theatrical, how would you say it, like his theatrical jobs, his acting. Yeah, I guess in terms of his acting. But yeah, so we're going to see them soon. That's cool. There's also a brief comment about Barry and Iris still wanting to have a kid. There was also talk of this recently in an interview, and I'm pretty sure this is going to come up again later in the season, but at the start, they're just so busy with Armageddon and what could potentially happen that I feel they're definitely not going to try and have a kid like in the middle of Armageddon when Barry could potentially turn into this evil version of himself and destroy the Earth. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. There is also another thing, Dion is mentioned, and Iris's time sickness. This is going to be a storyline that is going to continue throughout the whole season, according to Eric Wallace, the showrunner. And so I'm pretty sure, this is definitely something that is going to come back. I presume Dion is going to come back, considering that they have roped him into the story. I don't know if originally when they cast Dion, they were like, yo, you're going to be around for like a long time and you're going to be in this big time sickness story. I feel like they need an excuse why Candace wasn't around. So they were like, oh yeah, Dion did this. And now, good on the actor, he gets to stick around, because when they eventually get around to addressing Iris's time sickness properly, he's going to have to show up, right? I feel like pretty sure 100% that's going to happen. So that, yeah, I just want to say they're not going to, fully address this in the crossover, because this is something they're going to be exploring after the episodes come out. So after the mid-season break. All right, before we move on to anything, and before Eric hopefully shows up and hopefully his computer stops lagging out, it's annoying. Please be sure to send in super chats. I'm just going to do one more reminder, and this is going to be your last reminder for the live stream. So for all of you guys who are just joining and maybe don't know how to do it or want a reminder, please be sure to send in super chats by clicking on the $ and click super chat, and you can type in anything, any question. Is the Flash getting delayed? Classic Barry question? Gary question. Gary's already asked this in the live stream, but you can ask it again if you want, or you can ask anything else you want. And obviously your contributions are much appreciated towards the channel if you do support like that. And as I mentioned last week, big thing that we're trying to do an upgrade for the live streams is I'm going to be using my camera, and we need to basically get like this adapter thing, like a wire, and I think it costs like £50, and we're gonna try and upgrade it so that I'm not using this shitty, like low quality, shitty lighting, terrible camera thing. Yeah, and also I am going to be on the after party tomorrow. It's Paige's last after party, and we have a quiz, so I'm going to be there. But yeah, so we're going to upgrade everything, and it's going to be looking much more professional, and I'm going to try and get like a background stuff. So yeah, all your super chats are going towards that. I said that last week. Same applies for this week. As soon as the super chats come in, if you guys didn't know, you don't get super chats straight away. They come in like a month later or like 2 months later. So then we will 100% get the adapter so we can have the high quality live streams. And also, just as a good reminder, Nathan sends this in. He's a moderator, also a member of the channel. Nathan says, this is going to be a regular thing now. Please join the DCTV show Discord server. Our aim is to make it the biggest DC server on Discord. That is 100% true. And Nathan is going to be reminding you guys on every live stream that you can join our Discord server. Lots of new people joined last week, and if you guys all have Discord or want to get it for the first time and want to discuss the DCTV shows with us, again, there is a voice chat feature, so we can talk. Maybe if all of us are on before the Flash airs or something, we can all have a discussion over there. And also, the chat feature is very important because that's where we can just discuss, and I'm on it, and so lots of our members are on it, and Nathan is being very kind to kind of promote it, which is very nice of him. And so yeah, the link is in the chat on Nathan's comment, so go join the Discord server right now. That would be awesome if you guys could. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. And yeah, the next thing, again, still to do with the Flash, because this is a big Flash week, and hopefully when Eric comes in, we'll reiterate some of my thoughts and get into his thoughts about the episode, because obviously we have different opinions. And yeah, anyway, one of my final comments about the Armageddon Part 1, the episode 1 premiere, is CC Citizen Media is a big upgrade, obviously from last season. So Iris has suddenly got a big flux of money coming in, and she's amped everything up. I think she's made the offices like even bigger. Looks like it's a new place. I could be wrong on that, but it looks much bigger. So spending a lot of money, and she's rebranded it as CC Citizen Media rather than the Central City Citizen. And they've got 3 new staff writers. They've got interns. And Allegra also gets a big upgrade. She is promoted. That's the word I was looking for. She's promoted. Allegra gets promoted. She doesn't get a big upgrade. Well, she does in terms of powers. Obviously, leveling up is a big thing that they address in this episode, and I definitely want to see Eric's thoughts on this. Oh, we have Eric here in the live stream. I'm gonna add him in.
There we go.
Welcome. Eric is here, guys, as promised.
I'm sorry, there was some kind of issue with StreamYard. I had to restart my computer like 2 times to get it to work. So
no problem. I'm glad to have you here. So we're just in the midst of discussing CC Citizen Media.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into that, overall thoughts on the premiere on Armageddon Part 1? Like it? What was your thoughts?
Oh no, I enjoyed it a lot. It's one of those things where I think I like this episode better than like 95% of last season.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I like the feel of it. Like the stuff they have the characters doing felt more real. Like it just felt like the city was alive. And I know that last season, because of COVID, a lot of things were halted. Like they couldn't do a lot of outdoor scenes. They couldn't do, they just couldn't be in the city as much. And I get it. But with the show being where it is now, it's so obvious that Central City is just as much a character on the show as everybody else is. So having that involved with everything that everyone was doing felt really good to me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the episode. I mentioned this earlier, but I thought Despero was cool, and I liked how they set up everything, because necessary, like when you go back and watch it, nothing huge happens in terms of like battles or anything, but it kind of sets up, episode 4 and 5 are going to be big, Did you get that feeling?
I actually think the reason why they did it the way they did is because they wanted to show us how powerful Barry is, so they could also show us how powerful Despero is. Like, if Barry beat the Royal Flush Gang so easily, it shows that like street level criminals are not really a threat to him anymore. So they were trying to say, look, he's leveled up. Look, he saved the train with all these people in it. He stopped the Royal Flush Gang with Flash Time, right? But Despero is so powerful that none of that matters, and that he's going to have to beat him in another way. And I think that's the intention here. So that's what I was happy to see in terms of like the upgrades or the leveling up, as they were saying throughout the entire episode.
Yeah. I definitely felt that too. Like with the Royal Flush Gang, they were set up as like, they've leveled up, and then Barry literally creams them. Like he goes around them so easy. Wasn't that scene cool? That Flash time?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is one of the complaints I had about previous seasons is the Flash versus like street level villains should never be a problem.
Yeah.
He should never struggle with them. So the thing we got to see in that scene that everyone should should hang on a hat or, keep their mind in place for it is that he did a combination of his intelligence, his prep time, and his speed to defeat the Royal Flush Gang. Because he's like, oh, I can think at super speed. So he's using his intelligence with his powers to face off against them. And that's something that we've been lacking for like 2 seasons. Like I even said in my review, I was like, this is smart Barry. And I had to make that distinction because we've had mid Barry for a while now. Like this is the smart Barry. So
yeah, it was nice to see that. But I said this in my review. And I don't know about you, Eric, but you just mentioned it. But like, I don't know. I thought it was good, but like my couple of nitpicks in the episode was, I think they mentioned leveling up too much.
Definitely.
Like they should have gone on the thesaurus and like did a different word or something.
Yeah, they've upgraded or they've increased their power levels or something like that. Like the leveling up was a little cringe. Like it's one of those. That was the one thing that reminded me that we have the same people in charge of the show. Like out of all the changes they made, when they kept saying leveling up, I'm like, oh, that's right. These are the same people. That
these are the daddy and mommy writers.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. So I'm hoping that if that is the extent of the cringe that we're gonna have this season, I'm okay with it. It's gonna be annoying, but it was so like obvious that was just like they couldn't come up with another way to say it, so they just kept repeating it over and over.
And they were trying to emphasize it, being like, yeah, everyone's leveled up. Like, it's so much harder now. But you're right with Despero. It's definitely like with them all being so powerful, it proves how powerful he is. Like, the scene where the Atom and him, they both think, oh, he's over there, but no, he's actually behind him.
Did you also notice somebody in the chat brought this up, and I didn't say it in my video, but I did think about it. There was no Barry/Iris pep talks with each other in this episode.
There was none.
The only sort of pep talk we got was with Iris to Allegra, and it made sense because she was dealing with something that she needed help on. So I don't count that as like a pep talk because it actually made sense within the story. But there was no like pull someone aside and break them down and then pull them aside later and build them back up again. There was none of that in the episode.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't actually realize that as well until afterwards. But yeah, another nitpick I had, let's talk about some nitpicks, was the Royal Flush Gang and the freaking puns. I was like,
you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of, and this is what I think, I don't know if I said it in my review or not, but they remind me of like cheesy Batman villains from like the 50s and 60s. Like the idea that everything is a pun or a joke or a play on words or whatever. And yes, it was annoying, but I think it was also so first of all, maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but I think it was also to just show us how idiotic they are. Like that they think they're so much smarter than everybody else. And so that, but you're right. It was a bit much, but I just got the impression that they were definitely like cheesy 1950s, like villains. Like that's the impression that I got. Because if you think about it, the name of the gang and their whole concept is pretty outdated anyway. It's kind of stupid, but
yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. They were a small part of the episode, so I don't put too much into
I would still like to see them back, though. They weren't cringy enough for me to be like, I don't want to see them. I would love to see them come back once in a while and just have Barry kick their ass.
If it's just pure him kicking their ass, like occasionally cut away to them being beaten up by Barry.
Yeah, I would want there to be a threat because I could never take them seriously after this episode. So
especially after this episode, and it was just like the puns, and then the way that they were dressed up. It's like, okay, we get it. But another little nitpick, and it's the most stupid nitpick ever. But Iris rebrands to CC Citizen Media. I don't think it sounds that good saying it.
It's hard to say.
I was struggling in my review, and
in the episode she calls it CCC Media. Like she basically abbreviates it because they know that it's
why not
just
say CCC?
Yeah. I was saying it in my review, and after the first time, I only did it once, and I twisted my words like 2 or 3. I was like, I'm not going to say this every time, so I'm just going to call it CCC Media. Or I actually think Citizentopia, which is the name of the podcast, is a better name than CCC Media. And so when she said that, I was like, why is it so Central City Citizen Media? It's just the hardest thing to say.
Central City Citizen Media. Yeah.
It would actually be easier to call it Central City Media. It's the citizen in it that makes it weird. So it's not good. It's not a good name.
I thought it was good as the Central Citizen. I thought that was like hard enough, you know, but it's also, you can say it. It's kind of natural.
You know why they changed it, I think, is because they realized the idea of her working for a newspaper is outdated for what they do on the show. Because the idea of podcasting, like what we're doing here, and the idea of a blog and all that, that's modern. But the outdated concept of her just being a reporter, I don't think that works. So
yeah, me too. But yeah, so I was about to discuss a little bit about Iris and the upgrades there. So let's go ahead and talk about that just after this super chat, because I just realized Anthony has sent in a super chat. Thanks so much, Anthony. Anthony says, so was Matt in Vancouver for the last few days?
Do you mean Letcher?
Letcher?
Well, I know Narcos. Yeah, I was gonna say, because Matt Lesher, they finished filming Narcos, the final season. So I mean, he could be up there, but I don't know if it would have anything to do with the Flash. I mean, maybe it does.
Yeah, Anthony, can you clarify if it's Matt Lesher you mean? I presume it is.
If it's Matt Ryan, that would be weird because, well, it wouldn't be weird because he's there filming for, or have they finished Legends this season? I don't know if they finished it or not. I think they're still filming. So. And he's playing a different character. He's not Constantine. So.
Yes, I presume it is Matt Lesher you're talking about. But if he's in Vancouver, I mean, there's always a chance it could be he's there for the Flash. But it seems like there was some comments the other day from, I believe, Eric Wallace about Reverse Flash. Mm-hmm. Seems like Tom Gavinon's probably going to come back quite a bit. Like, I think the whole idea of announcing, oh, Tom isn't around anymore, like, I think it was just as the series regular. I don't think with restrictions kind of easing, it's that hard to occasionally show up to Vancouver. What do you think, Eric?
Okay, so two things here. One is I think for the sake of not having Wells, if they want to keep Tom on cast, they kind of need to keep him as Wells Bard because we don't have an actual Wells right now. So that would be their way of keeping Tom around without him having to commit to being in like 18, 19 episodes. As far as Matt Lesher goes, I believe that Matt Lesher is already signed on to another show. So having him come back just to play the Reverse Flash for one episode, I truly believe if they ever brought him back as Reverse Flash, it would be a flashback episode. And that might be the last time we see him as Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not for Armageddon. Armageddon's done filming. So if he's back, it's got to be for a Reverse Flash episode. But I would say, honestly, if they want to keep Tom around, it would be less confusing. A lot of people that are watching now probably don't even realize that Matt Lesher was Reverse Flash unless they've been watching since like way back in the day. Yeah. I don't know. I like both of them, but I think for consistency's sake, they need to stick with Tom at this point.
Yeah, I think they do have to stick with Tom, if I'm completely honest.
And I love Matt Lesher, but
yeah, completely agreed. Yeah, so thanks so much, Anthony, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so let's talk a bit about Iris. So they introduce 3 new staff writers. We'll talk about them in a minute. Mm-hmm. A bunch of interns. Seems like they upgraded their office. Is it a bigger place?
Oh yeah, it's bigger
definitely
place.
Much bigger than the one.
It was like one big room, but it looks like now it's like a small, like a loft. They've turned into like a media conglomerate place because there's a podcasting room and there's a newsroom and then there's like her office. So,
man, I need this. I need this for my setup. We all need it, Eric. We need a podcasting room, and then
there's a room dedicated. She's got the big thing in the back of the wall with her name and stuff on it with Citizentopia. I was like, this is awesome. It looked great. I was like, this is an awesome space, like for sure.
Yeah, so I definitely think the upgraded office sells it more as like this
the leveled up office.
Yeah, the leveled up office sells it as a leveled up organization because remember last year and the years before, they've always kind of offhandedly referred to it as like a very big success, but they've never like shown it. You know, there's never been a big impact that we've seen by the Citizen, but it's always been presumed and like kind of occasionally told to us, oh, like this is a big thing. But now it kind of sells it as a big thing with an office, with lots of people, not just 3 people working. So,
right.
Yeah, what did you think about that? And what do you think of Allegra's interactions with her staff writers and all of that? You go, and then I'll say something else.
Okay. I like the space better. Actually, everything on the show looks better. I know this isn't the question, but like CC, the jitters looks better. Her space looked better. Even shots in the city look better. I don't know what they've done. Something looks just cleaner and sharper right now. And so I love the upgrades we've gotten, the level ups we've gotten for everything. But no, I love her space a lot. I think it's great. I think her having a group of people working for her feels really good. And I know you didn't ask about that, but I think that Iris in general feels better this season already. I hope that I really like this direction for her. And I hope that this continues throughout the season. I know we're supposed to be covering the time sickness stuff at some point, but I actually like that she has her own group of people that are not like, for the love of everything, do not connect CCC Media to Star Labs. Keep them completely separate. Just do not connect them together. We do not need them connected. Okay, rant over with that. Allegra, though, I'm still not sold on Allegra. I think Allegra has a lot of work to do as a character for me. Some people have said they don't even like her and they don't want her on the show, and I wouldn't go that far because she's not my favorite. But I do believe if they're going to insist on her being there, which seems to be the case, then we need more from her. And I think this episode did a lot to build that. But to be completely honest, it was probably the single most weakest part of the episode for me was the Allegra stuff.
Yeah, and so what I wanted to also comment upon was the Allegra stuff. So I don't know, I felt like another nitpick I have is her response to Iris asking her to become like an editor. I don't remember the specific job. She was so shocked. Like, and I feel like you're literally one of the 3 people that was working here. Yeah. So why is it a big deal that Iris is going to be like, do you want to step up your game? Do you want to go in this bigger role? I feel like this has happened quite a lot where she's supposed to be Iris's friend, but then she's calling her boss. And, it's like a weird kind of mix up in the writing or something that it doesn't feel right that she's in this instance so surprised that she would get like
because I would think of them like on equal footing, honestly. They've been doing this together for a really long time, and other than Iris being actually the reporter that started out on the show as that character, everything in terms of Central City CCC, everything in terms of that has been a group effort. I would even say that Cisco's girlfriend had a part in it as well. I mean, if she were there and she got offered a position, Camilla got offered a position to do it or whatever, she would step up. It just doesn't seem like a weird promotion to me, to be leveled up. Like, it doesn't seem like a promotion. Like it seems like it should have always been. You know what I mean? It's like if you start a business together and you were the founders, right? Do you think you're going to be working as a janitor? I don't understand. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm glad we aligned on that because, that was like a big question mark. When it happened, I was like, what? But yeah, I think, as you said, she's probably the weakest link in this episode, which is a shame. But I'm not going to say I don't like her because I feel there is still an opportunity, but they're just kind of trying, but not quite.
I have learned over the years that there are characters that I don't like that end up getting fixed. Like the writers fix the character and then I start liking them. I know that his name is like sacrilege, but Harley Sawyer is a good character, like the Ralph Dibny character. I didn't like him in the first season he was on, but then I liked him in the second season that he was on. So there is a possibility to take a character and make them better. So I think Allegra has that opportunity. I think this season it has to happen though, because she's had a whole season on the show now where she's been sort of this main recurring character or whatever. She has this season to get it right for me. And if they don't get it right this season, I'm going to be like, we need to either do something with her or get rid of her.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this season is like the last moment they have, wait, talking about next season. So, Ray's final comments where he's like, oh, I'll be back next year. Do you think that's them slightly being like, yeah, Brandon Ralph's going to come back next year? What do you
I mean,
think of
I
that?
wouldn't mind him coming back. I think he's always fun to have around. The cool thing about it is in this episode, this is something that I missed on Legends quite a bit. Was he was Ray Palmer? He was smart. He was charming. He wasn't silly. He wasn't doing bro this, bro that, all of that. It was Ray Palmer being Ray Palmer,
Just
and then he was
himself.
also the Atom. We got to see him as the superhero as well, doing stuff.
He's the Arrow version of the character.
Yeah.
That's what it
and
felt
this
like.
is what I've missed about it from Legends. So I would absolutely love for him to come back. Like, totally.
I want him to be a team member of the Flash.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely got that. That went through my head. I was like, oh, it's so nice to have Ray back, like just the actual character, because he was allowed to just be himself and not have to fit into the zany tone of Legends now. So
it reminded me of him on Arrow. Like, it really was.
That's why,
yeah.
It's Arrow Ray Palmer. It's not Legends of Tomorrow. Maybe it's Legends of Tomorrow season 1 Ray Palmer, because he was pretty much Arrow Ray Palmer still at that point. But yeah. Okay, let's move on. We have 2 super chats here. One from Tim Scott sends in a $10 super chat. Thanks so much for supporting like that, Tim. Much appreciated. Tim says, would you rather have a more grounded version of the Royal Flush Gang, or the version that has them flying around on giant playing cards? Eric, go.
I wouldn't want them flying around on playing cards on the Flash. I mean, if that was on Legends or something like that, I could deal with it. But on the Flash, no. I'll say this: as corny as they were, this was as far as I was willing to go with like the ridiculous stuff, like the face paint and the costumes and everything and the puns. Anything more than this probably would have made me dislike them, because I didn't like love them. It wasn't like I love the Royal Flush Gang, but this version of them, the silliness and the overconfidence, and then the Flash is coming in and like kicking their ass. I like that part of it. Them flying around on playing cards, I think, would have been a bit much for me on the Flash, I think.
Yeah, I think the playing cards would be too much. I mean, I think I like them a little bit less than you, Eric, but I think they were okay, and I would be fine with them coming back. It's not someone like Amunet or Goldface where I'm like, please never show up again. Please never do. With this,
she's coming back this season, though, right? There's a rumor that she's going to be back. So
I freaking hate her. She's the worst character. But yeah, so I'm okay with them coming back if they do. But yeah, I think maybe the giant playing cards.
What if they come back on the playing cards and they're like, they've leveled up again?
Oh no, they leveled up and they got big playing cards that are actually like flying around, and it's not just actual playing cards. Oh God. Yeah,
that would be vomit for me. I wouldn't want that. No,
yeah,
but
that. I also don't want them to be that grounded, because it is inherently kind of ridiculous to have a bunch of criminals going around dressed up as playing cards.
Yes, that's why it's so difficult. So this is one of the things that I think with all the shows, when it comes to these classic characters, they're so hard to modernize because they were made during a period of time when superheroes were considered for children. So everything was so corny and silly and funny. And so there wasn't anything more. Like, if you look at heroes created like post 1990s, they're not so silly. They're usually more realistic.
Dark and grounded.
Yeah. So we have like Lobos and, characters like that came in that were just like dark, angry characters that did a lot of killing. Whereas back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, you had characters that used playing cards. So it's very difficult. So this is about as far into that as I would want to go for the Flash. I don't think so. Also, if there were like a Jay Garrick show set in like the 60s and they wanted them flying around on giant playing cards, I'd be like, okay, I'm okay with that. In 2021, no, I don't think that works for me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks so much for the super chat, Tim. Great question. And yeah, I appreciate you. Okay, Metron sends in a $2 super chat. He says, do you think Dreamer could appear on The Flash? Eric, you got thoughts?
Oh my God, I love Nicole Main so much. She's so great in this role. I would love for her to be on The Flash. I actually think she would fit in really well with The Flash, to be honest. Her and both Brainy. I'd love to see both of them back. But yeah, I mean, I will say this. I don't want to. Have you already spoiled Supergirl's finale? Is it okay to talk about it?
Yeah, last week.
Okay. All right. The way things ended with Dreamer and Brainy, I think I would love to see them come on the other shows as a duo and be on the shows. I love Dreamer by herself, obviously, but I would love to see them as a team up based on the way they, especially with the deleted scene that we got on CW with her and they're, supposedly getting married or whatever. I love these characters. I think Dreamer's awesome. She's probably one of the best, can I say, unknown heroes to come on the shows? Like in terms of I mean, she's not totally unknown, but to the mainstream audience, I think she was as a character. They don't know a lot about the Legion of Superheroes, but I really do like her, and I think she would fit in perfectly on The Flash. Maybe she'll be back on a crossover. I think Nicole would totally be down for that, and I would love to see that. So,
yeah, I would be totally down. Like, you guys know, I've said this many times. I'm like Eric. I really, really like Nicole. I think she's awesome. I think they should do a Dreamer show or a Legion show where she's included. Because I've said this before, but I really feel like the one downside of Supergirl ending is literally the cutting her character off. Because I feel like she's at a really good point right now, but she can go further,
Yeah.
And so I don't know why the CW wouldn't want to capitalize on it, because I think it's good. And I think like a Legion show would sell. People would be interested. They don't need to go the Legends route. They can have a team up show with these characters, but actually make it serious and like.
But you know what's the good thing about a Legion show is if it took place in the future, they wouldn't have to worry about chronological issues with the other shows. They can write stories that don't even
anyone, but they can also bring back people from the past.
Or you could have different versions. Like they could have a Flash of their time. Like they could have I know we already have like the Impulse thing or whatever, but they could actually have like another Flash that shows up because it doesn't matter, Yeah, I think the worst thing about Supergirl is that I think Dreamer was one of the best parts of the final season, and I would love to see more of her story continue.
Yeah, me too. And just briefly on Supergirl, it's kind of weird. No Supergirl this week. I don't think it's still like officially hit me yet, like properly.
It will when the shows come back in their next seasons, and she's not on it. So.
And there's no announcement for Supergirl or something.
Well, there's still a possibility we could get some Supergirl stuff on HBO Max. So
I really hope.
Yeah.
But I'm pleased that Alex is returning in the crossover. That's cool. And that potentially Melissa's still open. I don't see it happening for a couple of years at least, but I could definitely see like David Harewood coming back to direct some episodes in the Arrowverse, similar to David Ramsey, because he's directed multiple Supergirl ones. So I think he will probably show up.
You know who else I'd like to see come back is Lena, now that she's turned into like this witch character. I think that would be kind of fun.
What show could she show up on?
I think, I hate to say it, but probably Legends would be the only show that would let her do magic and stuff.
And I would really like to see Lex come back on Superman and Lois, because now it's pretty much officially confirmed the John Cryer version of Lex is Superman and Lois's Lex.
Yeah.
It is confirmed. Because, when they introduced the other Lex, it was like, ooh, is this the real Lex or what? But no, if he ever escapes the Phantom Zone, and I actually, like, even though that ending wasn't that good, it was very abrupt, it leaves a possibility for him.
Yes, absolutely. But I will say this. I'm so upset with the way they handled Nixley in the end.
Yeah.
Because Nixley was never truly a villain.
She wasn't.
And after she finally changed with Esme and everything,
she just got yeeted
into the Phantom Zone and nobody cared.
The same as Lex, like no difference.
So now she has even more reason to be angry at people because they didn't care. I know she wasn't doing things like, if you put yourself in her shoes and you were not following the Super Friends, you could totally understand why she was doing what she was doing.
Yeah.
She was never a villain, in my opinion. So
yeah, I think the story didn't end very well for her. It felt abrupt, like I said, that kind of, call in the Phantoms. They come in, they literally go ahead and they stop above the characters. And then they just come back and they're like, no. And then up into the air. And they didn't even show a reaction or anything. It wasn't like your typical how Lex would react. It would be like, damn you, Supergirl, something like that. I'll be back or something. It was literally like a shot of them going up and that's it. And then everyone moved on.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was like one complaint from the finale, but yeah,
But I love the second hour. The second hour was awesome.
Second hour was great. Like the ending was so good. I don't know about you. Did you like the ending?
I liked everything except for Supergirl revealing her identity. Other than that, I liked everything else.
I liked that because I thought
I know some people did. My issue with it is that I don't know if they're ever going to address it on the other shows, and that's kind of my only complaint about it. Like, I don't mind that she did it, and if she was on Earth 38, I would have zero complaints about the finale. But the fact that she's on Earth Prime makes it a little weird. But other than that, I liked how they sort of gave everybody a fairy tale ending because I think that was important. So.
And I like that they didn't just go ahead and ship her off somewhere else. I like the idea in my head that Supergirl is still a thing. That she is Kara, the CEO, the editor-in-chief of Catco.
Right.
But she's also Supergirl, and she's like one and the same now. And, you know, I think, I don't know, like, if they ever try and explain anything, I don't think they're going to try and explain.
I don't either.
There's the option for her to come back, right? It's much easier to bring her back.
even if she went away, I think there would still be an option for her to come back. I mean,
sure,
my issue, my issue with this is that she's readily available. That's the problem. Is that she's available, and even they said with Armageddon they were not going to address why she's not there or why Superman isn't there, and I think that's the biggest problem with everything being on Earth Prime. I mean, every hero doesn't have to appear for something. I get it. Like, you're not going to see the Flash swoop in and defeat Supergirl villains, or, you know, Superman come in and defeat somebody for Legends of Tomorrow. Like, that's not going to happen. But I think in a crossover event, it is logical to think that all characters should be available to come back and fight. And so that's my only real issue with it. But other than that, I enjoyed the second hour. I think it's probably my favorite episode of the entire finale, like the whole final season, to be honest.
Yeah, I really liked it, and I was rewatching some of the scenes, and I love the wedding. I love that Kara and Wim were singing. Obviously, you know, I like when they sing.
Well, you know what? The funny thing is, typically I cringe at stuff like that, but I thought it was appropriate. They did karaoke together, and they're at the wedding, and people sing at people's weddings. Like, that didn't bother me at all. I actually thought it was fun. So.
I was actually listening to it on Spotify the other day because they released Melissa and
did they? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like a full version of the song.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't included.
I didn't know that.
So it was cool. I thought it was so nice. I was like, oh, this is so great. Like, and then the ending.
Everything that happened in that episode worked for me also because they had defeated the antagonist of the season.
Yeah, once one of my issues was gold.
Right. I was like, all the other times they were doing stuff while that was happening, I'm like, why are you doing this? But this felt appropriate because everything was taken care of. So
yeah. So I was rewatching this week. I was rewatching the final, you know, small interaction with the whole team when they're just like in Kara's apartment. I just thought it was great. Like, that just one tiny scene before the reveal of her being Supergirl when the camera goes outside. And I have to say, were they screens, like huge TV screens outside?
Yeah, they looked like because I don't know if we know exactly where those screens are, but we've seen in National City they have these big monitors all over the place, sort of like Times Square in New York. But to be honest, I don't know if there was ever one that close to her loft.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But either way, I think it was okay. Like, I didn't have an issue with that. I thought that it was a fairy tale ending, and it was just, I mean, every fan of the show would be happy. The only complaint I saw were people were mad that she didn't have a love interest at the end of the series, but I mean, it's fine. For me, I don't care about that. So
yeah. Okay, let's move on. Gary sends in a super chat. He says, "Are you mad at me? Are you proud of me?" What do you think of that, Eric? What's your opinion?
Gary, I am madly proud of you.
That's perfect. What else can I say? Well, thank you so much for the support, Gary. I appreciate the super chat. Tina sends in a 179 super chat. Thank you very much, Tina. Tina also posted another question. Where is it? Who would make a good Supergirl? Eric, do you have any opinions on this?
You mean other than Melissa?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Well, I know. What is it? Sasha Kaye is playing
looking
Supergirl in
forward to
the.
her.
Yeah, that should be interesting because that's a different version, I think, of Supergirl.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. Outside of that, and I know they weren't my favorite episodes. I would love to see the actress that played young Kara in the Midvale episodes because
Yeah.
she was like a young Melissa Benoist, and I think she would be perfect. So
Yeah.
I don't remember what her name is. Do you remember what her name is?
Isabella Vidovic.
Okay, yeah, she was amazing. So
Yeah,
they nailed that casting, by the way. Her as a
they
young
did.
Kara, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I've always said that I would like a Midvale spin-off, but I don't know if it's gonna happen because remember earlier this season, we had those 2 episodes and they were such a great break. Like we said back then, we said it was kind of like a big kind of 2-part bottle episode.
Yeah,
His characters felt real and they felt
yeah.
really good, and
It was a good Dreamer and Brainy story too, which I
yeah, it
thought was
was.
fun.
So it was a great 2 hours, and I would like to see more of it. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
our answer. Metron sends in a $2 super chat. Thanks, Metron. They say, could we see Checkmate as the next crossover villain? Do you think we're going to see Checkmate? Obviously, Checkmate in the comics is, I mean, they've got their own comic right now. Green Arrow is heavily involved in it. Do you know much about Checkmate?
Isn't Checkmate like a part of like Suicide or Task Force X? Isn't it like a connected to that somehow?
Not entirely sure, but the stuff
I think
that
I think it's like a division of that department, I believe. I think that's a bit too. I don't know unless. Yeah, is it for sure or no?
Yeah, it's a covert operations agency, and they are a division of Task Force X normally.
So that's what I'm thinking of. Then yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind them as a crossover. I think that's fine because they range from like street level to like beyond street level characters. So I think it could work. I actually think they would benefit from taking a more grounded approach to the next big crossover because we're switching characters up a bit. And so I think because right now we're dealing with Armageddon, it's been Crisis, it's been Armageddon, it's been destruction of the whole universe. Like I would like to see something a bit more mid-level threat. Because we got to see, again, going back to this week's episode of The Flash, Barry uses intelligence and his speed. And I think with smart writing, you could make that a thing in a large event. So he can't just use speed to like win every time.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks so much for the super chat, Metron. And we've hit the hour mark, so we're going to start wrapping things up here. So do you have any final things you want to comment upon with the Flash? And are you looking forward to next week?
Absolutely. I will say this. Last season, I distinctly remember the first 3 episodes were connected to the end of season 6. And I was in love with the beginning of season 7 because it felt so good up until like the end of the 3rd episode where I didn't like how they wrapped it up. But all the rest of it, I really, really enjoyed. And so I was tricked into thinking the whole season was going to be good like that. And then we took a break from good stuff all the way into the last 3 episodes when Godspeed came in. So I hope, fingers crossed, that this level up that we've had of the show in terms of all the characters continues throughout the whole season because I'm absolutely enjoying it right now. I've actually seen some complaints online about this episode, and I think some of the criticisms are valid, but I don't know how you could think this is a bad episode of The Flash. This was absolutely a good episode of The Flash. It's in one of my, like, in terms of like the last 3 seasons, it's probably in my top 10 of Flash episodes.
Yeah, it was very solid.
I really, really enjoyed it. So I just hope that this momentum that we have right now continues at least through the next 4 episodes through Armageddon.
Yeah, I agree. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for tuning in live stream, or if you're watching it afterwards, go check out Eric's channel. He's posted his review of the premiere. Obviously, after party is tomorrow, right? I'm available tomorrow. So Pagey's begging me because it's his final one and he has a quiz prepared. So
his final weekly one. People are confused about that. He's not leaving permanently. Yeah, it's just he doesn't want to commit to every week, and that's fine. So we're taking a break from that weekly thing. But
other creators are coming in and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. And then of course you'll show up as well. But I don't know if I should talk about it or not. Maybe I shouldn't. There's something else going on with me and Pagey that will be coming to my channel that's going to be different.
Are you moving to
Captain Predator.
Australia? What?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Videos.
Put it this way: everybody kept asking for game nights where people could participate. So keep that in your mind, because although Paigey is not committing to weekly after parties, we are working on something else. So there we go.
And also, Eric has just begun his creator kind of series where you have like
we still have to film ours, by the way.
We still need to film ours. I was thinking about it today.
Yeah.
We'll do that ASAP. But I saw Chainsaw Reacts. His one was Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
Wait,
and
Superman
the history of the Arrowverse started. Yeah, Superman and Lois.
Yeah, and history of the Arrowverse. I watched that. So that's all on Eric's channel. He's got a lot going on right now. Obviously, the Flash reviews as well every week. But yeah, after party tomorrow. So thank you guys so much for watching.
There's a super chat.
Thanks, Tina, for the super chat. The highlight of the week has been
the Flash.
The Flash, obviously, coming back 100%. Thanks, Tina, for the final super chat. Okay, we're gonna go. Thank you, and see you guys next week and tomorrow for the next video.